Okay, let's correct some nonsense. Someone pointed me to another link by a person that writes books on photography, a team of videographers or vloggers. And look, I'm not pointing anybody out. I mean, I'm really not. I mean, if someone wants to say I'm a fat, bald, ugly, tattooed dude, that's fine. But if you're going to put out misinformation, then I got an issue. And I'm glad to be called out on it too, if anybody can find any misinformation. Of course, I'm not pimping or shilling for anybody, so I'll make a verbal flub every now and then, but pure, wholehearted misinformation, that's not the case. Anyway, a team of YouTube folks made a video series saying you don't need ND filters or circular polarizers or UV filters. We've already gone over the UV filter stuff ad infinitum. And of course, DSLRs don't need UV block protection. It's strictly prophylactic protection. Prophylactic, like a rubber, a condom, keep you from getting diseases. Protect your front element against bumps, acid. Constantly having to clean your front element is what actually strips off the air coating if you're not constantly cleaning it. But this isn't about that. The person, and this is really heinously just flat out balls wrong. It's just flat damn wrong. Person doesn't even make mention of this, and this is another reason why someone is probably not a shooter, which doesn't make any sense since they write books on photography. Yeah, not good. That you don't need a ND filter, and you do. Use them outdoors all the time and use them very often in studio. Why would you need that? As I showed you in a prior video, most professional photography is speed light use, but even outside of that, typical DSLR, Canon, Nikon, you've got 1/4000th of a second. If you want to crank it open, say you're taking a picture of a gorgeous woman and she's standing in front of, I don't know, a garbage dump or something, and you want to blur everything out, you got a beautiful setting, but you get ditch the background, right? Nice blurry bokeh. Can't do it. You got it up there 1/4000th of a second, ISO 100. You can't crank it down to f1.4, f1.8, too much damn light. It won't work, okay? You want to control that bokeh. You want to control your depth of field. Professional photographers live and die by a bunch of ND filters. This person's making a video say, you don't need ND filters. Now, people have been arguing, for some time about whether you need a UV filter. Of course, it's not about the UV filter. It is about protection for your front element. And I made many videos about that, and we're not going to get into that. But the notion, and this person doesn't even bring that up. I mean, anybody that's an actual real shooter, I've got ND filters flying out of my butt. They're all over the place. I know I've lost some. They're in the basement. God knows how many ND filters I've got. But these are vitally useful for background control, for depth of field. You expose for your background, and then you raise your subject up with your speed light, with your studio strobe, and you want to get that narrow depth of field. So let's say outside you got no studio strobe. You want to raise up your subject, but you want to control that shallow depth of field. You're already up at 1/4000th of a second, or say f1.8 for example, or 1.4. You can't get it. Your camera's flashing at you. Overexposure. ND filter. What do you mean you don't need an ND filter? You're going to have to stop down. Your composition, and a lot of people with shallow depth of field on portraiture, especially outdoors. But indoors too. The use of ND filters for indoor studio portraiture is incredibly vital. Even if you tone your studio strobes down and you want to crank it down to f1.4, whatever, for effect, it's not uncommon to screw on an ND filter inside studio. And it's incredibly common to do it outdoors. Incredibly common. This is a 4-stop air-coated Hoya ND filter. Yeah, it's a 4-stop, isn't it? I don't remember which one I grabbed. Yeah, NDX4. So, yeah, that is not like subjective information. That is just wholeheartedly incorrect. Okay? So you understand what you need an ND filter for? Depth of field control. It's actually used for a couple of other things, but 90% of what it's used for is depth of field control. You want to stop it down, you're exposed for your background, you've got the depth of field that you want, that's your Canon or your Nikon or, having a hissy fit with you saying, hey, we're maxed out on shutter speed here, We're already ISO 100 and 1/4000th of a second. You're going to have to stop that aperture down. You're telling your camera, no! You know, I don't want to stop it down to f5.6. I don't want that depth of field. I want this depth of field. ND filter. That's what it's used for. Oh my God, how can anybody tell people that they don't need ND filters? Every professional photographer in the world is going, I mean, I don't need an ND filter. I use them all the time. I can't get by without an ND filter if I want shallow depth of field. That's exactly right. So, that kind of amazes me. Somebody with that kind of following, and I don't give a damn, and I ain't counting follower. I mean, what? You're writing photography books, you tell people you don't need an ND filter? What? That's not right. Not what I think, feel, or believe. It's just flat out wrong. W-R-O-N-G, wrong. It's just flat wrong. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. You can't deny it. Ask any professional photographer. Well, yeah, I use ND filters all the time. I got to use them for depth of field control. Yes, that's right, kiddies. Thank you for watching. Bye.